The Wahoo ELEMNT Roam is the least annoying bike GPS I've ever used. Does that mean it's the best? Maybe. Let's find out. Let's start with hardware, and the ELEMNT Roam is most certainly an example of function over form, which is a polite way of saying it's actually pretty ugly. They've really gone for a sort of utilitarian chunkiness, and personally, I love it. Everything has been done to aid usability, and that's what the ELEMNT Roam gets so right. Bike GPSs seem to have got cleaner and sleeker over the last couple of years, and the ELEMNT Roam is very much the exception to that rule. But I do like it quite a lot. For starters, it has physical buttons with 6 around the case, 3 on the chin, 2 on the right side, and 1 on the left side. I love physical buttons on a bike GPS, and I will take them over a touchscreen every day of the week. One small gripe, there is only a down button when you're cycling through pages, and that just is slightly annoying. So if you need to go up one page, you have to go down through all of them. Ah, the screen. How I do love the screen. It's got a look to it that's similar to e-ink. It's very high contrast and it's easy to read all the time. It's also not very reflective. As you can see here next to the Garmin Edge 830, which is much more reflective. It's a small screen relative to the size of the unit, but it is just so readable that it doesn't really feel too small. And I'm happy with the large bezels because I find the LEDs around the edges of the screen really cool and quite useful. So while it may not be very pretty, I do really like the ELEMNT Roam's hardware. The Roam ships with the slick and classy out front mount that has a very clean interface with the head unit itself. I really like it, it's a great mount. What I don't like is the other mount in the box. The stem mount attaches to your bike with cable ties. Yes, this $600 unit ships with a cable tie mount in 2020, which is completely ridiculous. Now you might ask who uses stem mounts anymore, and the short version is I do. I like to use them when I have a handlebar bag on because I don't want a mount to get in the way of it. So I actually use stem mounts quite a lot, and this stem mount is rubbish. Come on Wahoo, you can do better, and for this money, we deserve better. The Wahoo ELEMNT phone app is the best way to set up and manage the ELEMNT Roam, so I would caution all prospective buyers, if you're not comfortable using your phone to control your GPS, maybe don't look at getting this one. You can do most things using the buttons on the device, but it's nowhere near as quick or convenient as using the app. For me, phone app control has pretty much become an expected feature in 2020. Other cheaper systems from Brighton and Lesign are using them and using them very well. Generally speaking, the ease of use of the ELEMNT app is very good, and I don't really have too much to complain about there. The Wahoo ELEMNT Roam does a pretty excellent job all round at maps, navigation, and all of the associated things that go with it. Each unit ships with regional maps that are updated automatically. They're highly detailed, coloured, and easy to see when you're riding. It's not perfect though, and I did find a couple of quirks in it. The strange thing I noticed was some roads were missing when I was out riding. This only happened a couple of times and I was sort of out in the regions, but I'd find myself on a fairly major sealed tarmac road and it just wasn't there. The strange thing was the sort of side gravel roads that we were turning onto were there. So I don't really know what's going on with that. The second thing is the turn direction overlay is sometimes just wrong. When I was following a course and it would pop up with a turn direction and a distance to the turn, it would tell me the wrong way to go. And that was really strange. I get a left arrow when I should have turned right, maybe I got a right arrow when I should have turned left. Couldn't really figure this one out either, but it's something worth noting. On a more positive side, the app is excellent for getting your routes onto the unit. You connect it up to your external services and you have access to all of your routes in the phone app. So I was able to scroll through my ride with GPS and Strava routes and then just immediately send them to the device. The Roam then does a very good job of guiding you through the course. The little chevrons are very easy to read and easy to follow. The one caveat being that problem I said just a minute ago about the arrows occasionally being wrong. Should you find yourself off course, I find the Wahoo system of rerouting you is very good and very natural. It finds sort of the most logical way back onto the course rather than something like the Garmin, which I tend to find always wants you to turn around and go back to where you left the course. I prefer the Wahoo system personally. So overall, mapping and navigation is a real strong suit of the Wahoo. It's sort of on par with the Garmin system, both with their own sort of quirks and both with their own benefits. But I would say that neither is really superior to the other and neither really represents a huge sort of reason to buy one over the other. The Wahoo ELEMNT Roam absolutely nails the ride experience, and that kind of covers off on everything that's good about the unit. Whether it's the easy to read screen or the subtle tones that sound when the unit's trying to tell you something, and even the fantastic little LED lights around the edge, I just so so enjoy riding with this unit. Circling back to what I said at the top, this is the least annoying unit I find to ride with. And that is a really common thing with bike GPSs. You are often just sort of managing the various annoyances that come with them. I've tested a lot over the last few years, and this is the one that sort of least detracted from the ride experience out of all of them. I love having physical buttons and being able to move through the pages that way. I love that you can always read the screen. I love that the sounds that it makes are quite subtle and I don't immediately want to turn them off. And as I said before, that it's very easy and intuitive to follow routes most of the time. They've just made so many good hardware decisions that it does add up to a unit that is very nice to ride with. Wahoo does a solid job with the Strava live segment integration as well for those who like to chase PRs and KOM. You get all the details you need on the screen, you get plenty of warning about upcoming segments, and you can scroll through them if you want to target a sub-segment or sort of a nearby overlapping one. Really, I only have one small gripe with it. My issue is with Strava live segment management, and on a Garmin you can just turn segments off. The Wahoo system syncs all of your live segments and they're either all on or they are all off. So on the device, you can't really pick and choose the ones that you do and don't want to target. The only way to change it is to unstar them in Strava and resync. Not a big deal, just a small annoyance for me. Once you've finished your ride, you can Bluetooth upload it to the Wahoo system and all of your connected services. And occasionally I did find the Bluetooth a little bit patchy, but that is fairly common with bike GPSs. Perhaps a weakness of the Wahoo system is that once I've uploaded my ride and it's beamed off to the other services, I don't really feel the need to use the app. There just doesn't seem to be that much in there that I would really want to look at. The Wahoo platform is decent sort of to look at after your ride, but I've never really had much of a reason to look at it in a world where Strava exists. I mean, to me, that's just where most people are looking at their ride data. To me, once the ride is uploaded, then I'm not really going to do much with the app until it's time to ride again next time. Wahoo claims a 17-hour battery life for the ELEMNT Roam, but I managed to run it flat in under 10 hours in a day of heavy use. And this is why I'll caution people not to take claimed battery life too seriously. When I took this unit bikepacking, I had a route going the whole day, I had the backlight on auto, and I wasn't doing anything that would try and conserve battery life. So to me, that represents real-world usage. And after 9 hours and 45 minutes, the unit was down to about 4%, which coincidentally was the end of the ride, so it actually turned out really well. That is decent battery life, but it's not amazing. There's actually a lot of units that will far exceed that, including the Edge 830. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, especially given how big the device is physically. It's either not very efficient with how it uses its battery, or it's just got a very small battery in it. At this point I could keep going with some of the other workout, the trainer integration features, but I think I want to keep this video short as possible. I've tested what I think are the most relevant features to the most people, so let's tie it together. Wrapping it all together then, this is an exceptionally well-rounded unit that really nails the user experience. It has maintained its position as a value alternative to Garmin, being $50 cheaper for the head unit alone, but $50 over the full lifetime of a GPS isn't really a huge amount of money, and I wouldn't encourage people to worry too much about that. As it stands now, the perfect bike GPS does not exist, but I would say for me, the Wahoo ELEMNT Roam is probably the one that I like the most. I've really enjoyed using it, and I'll be sad to see it go because this is a review unit and I do have to send it back, at which point I'm gonna go back to my Edge 530. And that is where I'm gonna leave it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, ride safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time.